Come with me if you want to list.
Folks, welcome to another edition of Real Estate Experts. As always, I'm your host, Glen Twiddle, bringing you leading experts from around the country and around the world to help you traverse the minefield that is the real estate market. And today, I'm here with a business owner, entrepreneur, lifelong real estate professional, and author of a best-selling book. And I'm talking about none other than Rachael Woodham. Rachael, thank you so much for catching up today.
Thanks for having me, Glen.
So you're a little bit out of the, in a regional area, and I wanted to pick your brains about, I suppose, how we can help our audience with their real estate needs, because your skill set is huge. But before we get to that, I must ask you about your extracurricular activities, because, you're a self-described country girl, and tell our crew a little bit about your hobby that is a little unusual.
So I've been a camel jockey since I was about 16.
Wow. Okay.
Raced all over Australia. Won mountains of awards.
Well,
and trophies.
I've seen buckles and championships and all of that. Wow. So one of Australia's leading camel jockeys.
Yes.
Wow. So, do you hire camels or do you own them, or how does the camel jockeying world work?
The way I race now, I fly up. They pay to fly me up
A
to
professional
the race.
camel jockey, I like it.
I get paid to race, and I race their camels that they've spent all the time training.
Wow.
When I was 18, I did buy a camel out of the wild, no human experience at all, and thought I'd train it to race.
Wow.
In the end, I gave it to someone else to train because I got pregnant and didn't really fit the camel training. But they trained it, and that became Australia's fastest camel.
Wow.
I just got to fly up and race it.
Wow. Well, you're certainly a unique individual, but you've taken that discipline that's led you to lead in that rather unique field, and you've applied that to your business life as well. I'd love to know sort of what led to the real estate space.
After the camel racing started, my interest in real estate was spurred on by my boss when I was about 18, 19. He invested in property and he was running his own business, and he talked a lot about what he was investing in while I was at work. So I was really interested, and he suggested that he could help me buy my first house. So he took me along to meet his broker because the banks had already told me I couldn't buy a house. And his broker's like, all right, well, we'll assess your assets. And at the time, my only assets were my camel and my panel van, and that's it.
Wow, okay.
So they explained to me how big a deposit I would need and where to start.
So through traditional channels, you were told, just no, young lady with your camel and panel van. But by knowing the right people in your team, we might call it now as grown-ups, but back then it was just your boss's connection. But really that principle there is know the right people, have the right experts as part of your team, and you can get things done where traditional channels might say no.
Yes, so as a 20-year-old, I didn't know who to ask or who I needed on my team or where to even start. I thought you went to the bank and asked them. But he pointed me in the right direction. That's really
I love now that you've become, I suppose, the team member through people buying your book and accepting your mentorship. You've become that contact for people, 18 and 20-year-olds now.
Yes.
Wonderful. So you're now passing on that experience. I love that to the folks now. What sort of things are people asking you now? The Rachaels of today, those 18 and 20-year-olds. How are you passing that forward? What sort of things are they asking?
I think helping set people up with the right team is the biggest experience that I can pass on. So when I bought my first investment property, I put it with a local agent and it sat there for 6 months vacant.
Right.
My friends
this is
and
to
I
get a tenant in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
My friends and I would go there on the weekends, we'd roll our swags out, just to make sure the house was all right, walk across the paddocks down to the pub and then come back and stay the night. For 6 months. I never saw an agent once. They never called me and explained how I could get a tenant faster, which now I can pass that knowledge on because I know, well, if we adjust the price or change the marketing, we can find a tenant much quicker and we don't have to lose 6 months rent.
Wow. So agents back then even were still, let's just say, employing the hope and pray strategy.
Well, yeah.
just hoping a tenant was going to beat down their door to help you, rather than be proactive and get the job done.
Well, they advertised it and hoped someone would come. That's all they did.
Well, clearly poorly advertised it, because 6 months ain't, you know, that's hurting most investors here in the Australian market today. If they were 6 months rent free, most would lose their property.
And from that experience, I thought, well, I better teach myself how to do it better, because the real estate agents aren't teaching me. So I went and did every property investment seminar I could find, any course I could sign up to do, I was there.
Wow.
Spent every weekend learning property, and then started slowly investing in my own, buying development sites or something I could land bank and develop later, renovations that I probably should never have bought.
So expensive experience,
It's been a very expensive experience, but if I can save other people the heartache and pain and the mistakes that I've made by telling them now, or just giving them little tips and advice.
Yeah. So in your book about unlocking the potential in the property, aside from making sure we get a good agent, you know, so that we can get the right tenant in there to help us, you know, cover off on some of those expenses that owning a property incurs. Tell us about some of the things that are in the book, unlocking the potential. What are some of the untapped potentials that maybe some Aussie investors are missing?
The book, I guess, is a little bit more aimed at homeowners than investors, and preparing your home for sale.
Okay.
A lot of people think they need to renovate before they sell, but there's little things that you can do to dress up your home that is not great expense to get it on the market.
Is that the key? Do you find that people are doing major renovations and not realising a profit based on those investments?
Yeah, or looking at their own kitchen or their bathroom and going, oh, this is going to cost me $20,000 to update my kitchen, when there's simple little things that can be done, like replacing a bench top or cupboard door handles and repainting, rather than rebuilding the entire kitchen from scratch.
Yeah. So I suppose if someone renovates to their taste, spending $20,000, they would need to get another $20,000 on their property price just to be even.
Yeah, and sometimes it's over-capitalising when there's just the little things that you could do to save yourself the money but still get top dollar when you're selling.
Yeah, I love that you've got that book jam-packed with simple tips like that. Let me ask you this, because I had a look at the book, and as I was glancing through it, I was captivated, so I did more than glance then. I had a good look through it. Are those tactics that seem to be some of them common sense, are you finding that when the pressure of property investment comes on board, that common sense doesn't always seem to be common practice?
I guess so many people are second-guessing themselves about which way to go, but a lot of it is just common sense. The little things around your home that can be fixed up, or just decluttering. Yeah. It's so simple and inexpensive. Just get started.
So with your, you've bought a bunch of properties, right? I'm not even going to ask about your portfolio because I know the amount of stuff you've done, but you've dealt with a lot of real estate agents, and now you've become one. Now you've got real estate agents come to you for leadership and mentorship, asking your advice. Tell me, how do we find, because not everyone lives out in your neck of the woods out in regional Victoria there. We've got viewers all over the country. How do we find the Rachael Woodham of Brisbane or the Gold Coast or something like that? How can we find, because they'll all say the same thing. They'll all say they work hardest, got the best skills and all of that. How do we find the walkers of the talk versus the talkers of the talk?
Yeah. There are so many real estate agents in our industry that have done the entry-level course. They're there to make a quick dollar, buy their fancy cars and get around in their shiny shoes. Yeah. When you're looking for a real estate agent, ask them about their experience in real estate. Do they invest in property? Yeah. It doesn't have to be a number, but
have they been through the process at all?
Yeah. Have they bought a house? Where do they invest? What advice can they give through their experience?
Okay. Now I've seen a list of your the people you've helped. I've seen videos on Facebook of just people singing your praises. Tell me about how much proof should we be looking for, or what sort of proof? Because again, you've got an undeniable track record. How can agents who are saying, oh yeah, I've helped everyone in this area, what sort of proof things can we look for so the consumers know they're dealing with a quality agent?
Yeah, everything's online now. Yeah. You can stalk your real estate agent.
And we recommend they do.
Do that. There's so many, you've got Google where you can search through all the agents in your area and see what they've done. There's referrals from clients on their Facebook, on Google, on Rate My Agent.
Yeah, there's all those review sites now. Are they legit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, they have to actually get reviewed to have a review.
Yeah, that's it. Because I was asking the question early because some of them felt a little bit agent written, but it turns out that the sellers have to sell them and they confirm that they were a real seller. The agent can't just write their own review and chuck it up. So nice to see.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, your track record speaks for itself, so it's very, very cool. Thank you. Before I let you go, I do, because I know a lot of it's contained in the book, so what we will do is I'll pop a little link up there for people to avoid the $30 fee that is up on Amazon. Now, sure, if you want to go to Amazon and buy Rachael's book, feel free. But if you do want to go to that link below, Rachael has agreed to give a couple of copies to viewers of the show for free. So thank you for that. And congratulations on the publishing.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of good tips in there, but let me ask you, for someone who is 18 to 20, the Rachael of 2019, 2020, what would you say to them to get started investing?
I guess start researching.
Okay.
There are so many courses available that you can do just to get started. Ask your local real estate agents for help. What's something that in the area that would rent out well, or I guess working out how you want to invest too, whether it's a buy and hold or if you want to do developments later down the track, or if you just want to renovate something and sell it. In our area, we're about 60 kilometres out of the CBD, so out of Melbourne. It's still very affordable, and investors can get in there and buy something to renovate and flip. They can still buy something. A first home buyer can afford to buy an okay house with a backyard that they can subdivide off and sell.
Yeah. Wow. And so I suppose that was my next question. When you say invest in the area, have you got any tips on choosing an area? Because we've got viewers all over the country, internationally even, where what sort of areas kind of lend themselves to maybe future growth or maybe high demand from tenants and things like that? Is it only the capital cities, or what sort of tips would be making one regional centre better than another?
There's a lot of factors, but I guess it depends what kind of investing you want to do. If you want cash flow, then you'd buy in an area that doesn't have as high a growth, but the rent is higher in the properties. And there's a lot of renters in that area to tenant your properties. You can buy in a more expensive area where the growth is great, but the rent versus what you've spent isn't as great.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so thanks for that, Rachael. I really appreciate your time and the copies of the book you've got for our viewers. So congratulations on all the wins. Congratulations on that mountain of people who love you that are ranting about you online. Well done on the continued growth, and thank you on behalf of our viewers for helping us take those few steps to building our portfolio. So
you're welcome. Thank you.
So until next time, folks, for another episode of Real Estate Experts, I'm Glen Twiddle. Bye for now.